This guy amassed a $1.8 million property portfolio in just 1 year. And the crazy part is, he did all this while raising a family of 4 while keeping a new business afloat during the peak of COVID. Oliver was previously a professional rugby player before becoming an electrician by trade, starting his property investing journey after converting his first owner-occupied home into an investment. However, not everything was smooth sailing.
And then COVID hit in 2020, so everything pretty much got shut down during COVID. And we decided to sell that second property and then to help fund the business and try and keep the business afloat.
COVID put a huge strain on his family and business. But despite all that, Oliver was able to recover and secure 4 investment properties in quick succession over the last 12 months, using a range of options without impacting his ability to borrow or service his loans.
I learned in my studies was investing in a SMSF, self-managed super fund.
Self-managed super fund, okay.
Yeah, so Laura and I decided to go and set up a self-managed super fund, transfer our superannuation money into that fund.
We brought Oliver into the office to talk about how he was able to quickly amass such a successful portfolio despite his initial financial hardships. In this video, we'll share with you how Oliver acquired his investments in just 12 short months, the exact strategy and range of options he leveraged to buy his properties, the professionals Oliver engaged to minimize his risks, where Oliver believes are the best places to buy, and how Oliver accomplished his goal of showing his family how to generate wealth by working smart, not hard. Thank you for sparing the time to watch this. This podcast is designed to be a platform in which customers of Durotax are given a voice to come on to share not only their success, but the trials and tribulations that they encounter whilst embarking on the road to a successful property investing journey. I hope that the efforts that our team puts into this podcast will empower at least one person to start realizing financial freedom through property. As a viewer, I hope that you can help us achieve this mission in empowering many more people by subscribing to our channel and perhaps sharing to those around you that might need to hear this the most.
One thing I'm really interested in is I know that you have a trade background and in electrical, so I'd love to sort of learn how you got into that and started off your career in the electrical trade.
Basically, I was never gun at school or anything like that. Sort of got to year 12 and I was living at home with mum and dad. Obviously, still was at school. And their neighbour, his name was Barry. He had an electrical business. And I got chatting to him and he drove some nice cars, nice ute and all that sort of thing, beautiful property. And I thought, well, you go to TAFE, you don't need to go to uni to be a sparky. So I had a chat to him and sort of convinced me to get into a trade and started an electrical apprenticeship. That's how I got started.
Yeah, nice. We've got a key takeaway that you don't need to have good grades in school to be a property investor. So a lot of people may be sort of, that's actually really good because they might have been worried about that. So there you go. For guys watching at home, you don't need good grades to be a property investor, but still get them anyways. Yeah, so you continued on into the electrical trade, and I'm assuming that brought you into the construction industry. So how did that evolve then, buying your first property, and how did that story start for you?
Yeah, I went along and completed my apprenticeship, got my electrical license as well. During my apprenticeship, I met my wife now, Lauren. And we were dating back then, my apprenticeship, and we saved up together and put down a 5% deposit and bought a property in Rouse Hill in Sydney's northwest.
Nice.
That was back in 2011. So I was able to negotiate it down about 8,000 below what they were asking for.
That's always
back
good.
Then.
That's always a win.
Yeah, obviously being a tradie, an electrician, I got mates who were builders as well.
Yeah, nice.
So we sort of did a little bit of
renovations to the property.
Yeah, exactly. Didn't cost us too much, which was good.
Yeah. And this is the property you're going to move into, is that right?
That was the property we were going to move into.
Yep.
We moved into it for a couple of months, and then I got an opportunity to go play professional rugby overseas.
Awesome.
So we were in it for a few months before we sort of left. Jetted off overseas for a couple of years and put tenants in there. And that's the story of the first property.
So you turned that property into your investment.
Yeah, that was the first one. Yeah.
Actually, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but the renovation you actually did on that property, once you actually turn that into an investment property, you can actually claim the capital works on that from the date of the investment. So that's just sort of a bit of a tip for people watching at home as well too. So you jetted off overseas and that became your first investment property again.
Yeah.
It sounded like just that's how life happened, really.
Yeah, it just sort of happened. Yeah, nothing, I guess, well, so far in my experience in life, nothing goes exactly to plan.
That's definitely true.
Things just always pop up, and especially when there's opportunities. Yeah, so we did that, turned the owner-occupier into a investment.
Yep.
Yeah, then came back after that. Moved back at home with mum and dad. for a little while, saved up a bit more cash.
Yep.
And we were able to refinance that first one, pull a bit of equity out, and buy a second investment property.
Okay, awesome. So that was your strategy to get the second one, was to use the first one, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would have been about 2015.
Yeah.
Around 2015,
Yeah,
I think
nice.
it was.
And where was that second property located that you bought?
Oh, a couple of kilometres down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Beaumont
something-
Hills.
yeah.
Yeah. Next suburb over, pretty much.
And with that one there, was there much sort of strategy? Was there much thinking into that one? Or was that just like something close by that we could sort of afford?
Yeah. Well, back then I didn't really have a strategy, so
Yeah.
it was what we could afford, and
Yep.
I saw an opportunity to come up to buy that. So yeah, had a mortgage broker we were using at the time, and worked with her, and we were able to get some equity out of the first one and use that as a deposit for the second one.
What about the family journey along the way? Was there kids along the way? I know you had the wife involved, and there was the kids started to get involved at some point.
Yeah. So basically we came back from overseas. We were able to get that second property. That was in 2016. We ended up getting that.
Yep.
There was a house and land package, like a build. So that completed in 2016, and we moved into that. And we also had our first child in 2016 as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so I was off work on maternity leave and all that. Pretty much we were on one wage, and I was just about to start my electrical company as well. So I
Awesome.
started that in 2017.
So going back to what you mentioned there about the first property that you did have. So you mentioned that you lived in it for a couple of months, and then you turned it into investment property, and then you sold the property. So I'm assuming there was some capital gains that you had to pay on that. How did that affect you? And can you share a little bit of light on what that actually was?
Because we lived in the property for a few months when we first purchased it, and then did the renovations and that on it, we didn't actually end up having to pay any capital gains tax when we went to sell it a few years later. And that was because it was our primary place of residence. Yeah, because we'd lived in it after we purchased it, and then sold it within, I think it was 6 years.
Yep.
There's a rule, if you live in the property as your primary place of residence, and then sell it within 6 years. And
So you got away with that one.
Yeah, no CGT, which
Yep.
is pretty handy.
Yes, definitely. So then after that, you decided to sort of sit on the property market for a little bit. You didn't go into anything after that. You just wanted to get your feet flat on the ground after having the baby and the new business. Is that how that went after that?
Yeah, pretty much. So we sold that first property. We had a little bit of cash sitting there just to help, I guess, ease the pressure of servicing the second one, which we then moved into ourselves as well. Yeah, started our family obviously. So we had our first kid, Spencer, and we moved into there with him, and we were in there for a couple of years. And then time was going on. We had our second child, Macy.
Yep.
She was born at the start of 2019. That second property in Beaumont Hills was only it was a 3-bedder home,
Yep.
but it was like a real small block with like barely any
Starting
backyard.
to grow out of it now.
Yeah, and
Yep.
like in hindsight, it probably wasn't the best idea, I guess, or best choice buying that kind of property.
Yep.
We wanted to have a couple of kids, but it's what we could afford at the time, and the opportunity presented itself, so we took it. But soon after that, we sort of realised that we're going to outgrow this property pretty soon, so we need to either look at buying another property that was bigger to move into,
Yep.
or maybe turning this one into an investment and then renting somewhere else maybe that was a bit bigger.
Yep.
Yeah, we rented where we could afford then. And then COVID hit in 2020. So everything pretty much got shut down during COVID. And we decided to sell that second property, and then to help fund the business and try and keep the business afloat. So we had no property then.
So we're now sort of at the point of where COVID was, and you're renting one property, and you've sold all of your investments. This is sort of that COVID time, right? So we're no investment properties, and you're renting. So
Yeah, that was end of 2020. We sold that second one.
Yep. And with 2 kids, am I counting correctly? At 2 kids at this point?
We had 2 kids. No, so we had Macy, and she was our second. We had her at the start of 2019.
Yep.
Then we had Harvey, our third. So after we sold the second property, we were sitting on a little bit of cash, obviously from the gains that we'd got from it, using that to help fund our life,
Yep.
plus invest back into my electrical business.
Yep.
It was a little bit tough, obviously, during
Yeah, can
COVID
imagine.
times.
Yep.
Trying to keep the staff and keep all the overheads under control and all that stuff to keep going.
Yep.
So eventually I was like, I need to come up with a strategy. We can't just sit on cash, as you know, like inflation devalues every year. Then I sort of realised, I've got to come up with a strategy, got to work out what I'm going to do moving forward. Obviously everyone wants to try and build their wealth. Pretty time poor with business, and at that point 3 kids.
Yes.
And since then we've had another one, Boston.
Nice.
So 4
There's
kids
4
now.
kids now?
Yeah. Basically after I started my business, I'm a Sparky, I'm a tradie.
Yep.
I'm not that smart with, or at that point before I started my business, I didn't really know anything about business. Yeah, I started the business and realised, pretty quickly that there's a lot of stuff I don't know about running a business, being a Sparky. So I, quickly tried to educate myself, a lot of self-education, a lot of reading, a lot of podcasts, followed like a lot of people on social media, business owners, just tried to educate myself on pretty much business. And then that led me to following other business owners, successful business owners, and what they did. Their stories. And I sort of realised, or noticed a common theme. The most successful business owners are also successful property investors. They start their businesses, their companies, they make them profitable, and what do they do with their profits? Most of them invest the profits into property. And that's how they protect, I guess, their money and their wealth and hedge against inflation and all that thing. So I was like, I'll do what they do.
Do what they do.
So then that sort of led me into,
And sometimes it's just as simple as that, right? I think like a lot of people can tend to overcomplicate these things. I mean, but sometimes it is just simple as potentially looking at someone who's been there and done that before, and then just following in their footsteps. And I think one key thing you said there was that you seen them do it. You're like, well, maybe I will do that. But I think people may miss, and you may be able to touch on this as well too, is they have the knowledge, but they're too scared to take the action. What made it different to you that you weren't like scared to take the action? Because I think that holds a lot of people back.
I don't think I was fearful to take the action, but I think that comes down to, I guess, doing the due diligence and putting in the work to study and figure out different things. When you've done enough of that, it gives you the confidence to make a decision.
Yeah, it's true.
So that was one part of it, but the second part as well, like I said, I've got 4 kids, and I was just...
4 kids is not cheap these days.
No, it's not, but I can't remember where I heard it. I heard some quote or some saying once that, how can you tell your kids to chase their dreams and go for it if they see you not doing that yourself?
Yeah, that's a really great insight. So, now sort of going back to sort of now we're back to that place where, you were sitting on that cash like you were saying, and you're now looking at sort of, what's next. And so tell us about that sort of journey of you restarting your property investment journey post-COVID.
Yeah, so I was just obviously watching lots of YouTube videos, taking in lots of podcasts just like this one, trying to learn as much as I could about different strategies and different ways to invest in property. And then, like I said, obviously pretty time poor with 4 kids, a wife and the business and that. So I decided on the strategy I wanted to use. And then I decided to find a buyer's agent to help me. They help save a lot of time. I decided to study a bunch of different buyer's agents I thought could help me a lot with my property investment journey.
And what was that strategy that you were thinking about? Like you said, you found someone to align with your strategy. What strategy were you thinking? And it's like, what made you come to that conclusion of that was the strategy for you?
Basically, with the first 2 properties that Lauren and I bought, a big problem that we had with that was they were low yields. So it was hard for us to hold the properties, which ultimately ended up meaning that we had to sell both of them. So I really wanted to find properties that would be a lot easier to hold with higher yields.
They could potentially take care of themselves a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to get properties in areas that are not going to be hard to find tenants. There's always going to be tenants around, so you're not going to have to worry too much about vacancy. And then obviously in an area that's always going to consistently grow, or buy into an area where it's going to consistently grow for the next couple of years, to get those gains as soon as possible.
Yeah, and that's really good. I think what I hear here is while you did get a buyer's agent to potentially help you purchase those property, I think it's good to hear that you still did a lot of your own research. You still looked at the strategy that you wanted and worked for you. And I think that's really good. So you can also be a part of that journey as well too. So that's great to hear that that's what you're still doing as well. So then where was that first property that you bought on the first one back?
Yeah, so we engaged a buyer's agent and he helped us find a property between the Gold Coast and Brisbane, just south of Brisbane, about 30 minutes south of Brisbane. Yeah, and we bought that in June last year, June 2023. Yeah, we got that one. Yeah, it was a 4-bedroom house. It was a house, half of a duplex. Yeah, so we got that in June, and it's increased in value quite a bit.
Yeah, how much did you purchase that one for, and roughly what would that be worth now if you okay with sharing that?
Yeah, so we purchased that in June last year, 2023, for $410,000, and we just got some valuations done on our portfolio about 6 or 7 weeks ago, and that one came back at $593,000.
Oh wow! So having something like that much equity, what was the journey to purchasing the next ones, and how did that come about?
Yeah, so we used a cash deposit from the cash we were sitting on to buy that first one, and we still had some more cash left over. So then our buyer's agent was able to find us another property.
Straight away?
Yeah, pretty much straight away. That was over in Perth. So that was a 2-bedroom apartment, and we were able to get that for $315,000.
Okay.
And we used up a lot of the rest of the cash we had as a deposit for that one.
Yep.
Yeah, so we got that second property. We settled on that September last year.
Perfect. So now you got your second property. Sounds like it happened very quickly. Sort of those sort of first two. What was the sort of plans after that? To keep growing, or was it to sit back and hold a little bit? What happened after those first two?
Yeah, well, I'm 38 now, so I'm not in my early 20s or anything like that. So I knew that I wanted to be quite aggressive with trying to grow our portfolio. So we wanted to try and get the third one, but we got stuck on serviceability. And so yeah, we went back to the mortgage broker and yeah, they said, yeah, you got to sort of try and increase your income a few months and then come back and see us and go from there. And I was thinking, all right, no worries, thanks for that, but I want to buy another property as soon as possible. I don't want to wait till another 6 or 8 or 10 months.
Yep.
So one of the other strategies I learned in my studies was investing in a SMSF, self-managed super fund.
Self-managed super fund, okay.
Yeah, so Laura and I decided to go and set up a self-managed super fund, transfer our superannuation money into that fund, and then purchase a property through there. So with self-managed super funds, the borrowing capacity and the serviceability is completely separate to you as an individual.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, so we were able to do that, and that allowed us to get into a property a lot sooner.
And where was that property located at, and what did you purchase that one for?
That one was in North Perth,
okay,
in Western Australia there.
Yep.
And we got that one, we settled on that one this year actually, in April. We paid $341,000 for it, and that was in April this year, and then we just got the valuations back a month or two ago for that one, and that's $387,000.
Kind of 40, 50K
40 something, yeah.
Uplift already. So now we've got 3 properties in total, 1 outside super and 1 inside super. So I believe there is one more still as part of the journey, is that right?
Yeah. So obviously since we bought the second one, 6, 8, 10 months later, whatever it was, I went back, worked really hard with the business and stuff, increased the income, went back to the mortgage broker. Values of the first 2 properties were able to increase. So we were able to pull some equity out of that, and then put that down as a deposit for the fourth one.
Yeah, nice. And what location was that one in?
That was in Perth as well.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yep. And what did you purchase that one for?
So we got that one for $381,000.
So that's a recent purchase, is that correct?
Yeah, recent. Yeah. So we settled on that in June.
So pretty much you've gone from 0 properties to almost 4 in about a year.
Yeah, just under a year.
Yeah. So where do you see yourself now over the next 12 months? Are there particular areas, are there particular strategies you're looking to implement to get maybe the next 4 in the next 12 months? Like where are you sort of looking over the horizon for the next 12 months to be for you? Are there any areas or any strategies that sort of really stick out for you?
Yeah, I think the Perth market's still got a fair way to go. We'll probably look to get the next one there. We're just doing the tax returns and the company tax returns at the moment, getting them done. Yeah, so once we get them back, go back to the mortgage brokers and see how we go.
So the total value of the portfolio, I believe it's just under 2 million, is that right? Or
it's about 1.8.
And what are you most excited about right now for property investing? I think we see so much negative news stories at the moment. Everyone's unsure if interest rates are going up, what's happening there. But what are you most excited about with property investing in the short term?
I think when I look at the Perth market at the moment, like I said earlier, it's got a bit of a way to go with growth. And even I think the Brisbane market still, with the Olympics coming up in 2032, there'll still be some more growth over the next few years there as well.
Yeah, nice.
So there's a couple of spots to be excited about still. And it's not all doom and gloom. I think the biggest thing is your expectations. Most people aren't just going to be able to buy, a $3 million dream home as their first property. So if you want to get into property, for me, the best way I've found is, buy further out or buy in areas where you can afford and just leverage that as a stepping stone.
Yeah, exactly like the start of your journey where you mentioned about renting where you wanted to live, but then also investing somewhere else. So you mentioned you have 4 children, and how do you see your journey of property investing? How do you see that affecting their lives in the future?
Well, I've spoken with Lauren about this. Yeah, the thing I think I want to leave my kids or give to our kids is knowledge. Mm-hmm. There's that saying, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Mm-hmm. Teach a man to fish, he'll eat forever. So that's the kind of theory. That's sort of, I'd rather just pass on the knowledge for kids growing up with this is what I want to do with my kids. I want to teach them how to do it for themselves. I think it builds resilience, and yeah, because in life there's always obstacles. No matter what you do, everyone's got struggles and obstacles, and I think if you can build the grit and determination and ability to overcome things from a young age, that'll do you well in life.
So a common theme that I hear people, they become very overwhelmed with the property investment journey, because like you said, you have to purchase property, then you have to get finance, and there's tax involved. There's so many different aspects. What type of advice or tips would you say for people that are a bit overwhelmed with so many things to do when it comes to property investing?
I would say do some research on professionals who can help you. As a property investor, obviously an accountant with my business or my tax returns and all that sort of stuff. So that was one of the first, as we mentioned, a buyer's agent as well, to help source properties. We've got a mortgage broker that we work with as well. They do a lot of work, so I can't imagine trying to do all this without the help of a mortgage broker. Trying to organise finance and all that stuff. And then from there, you also use like conveyancers or solicitors as well with all the contracts. Property managers too, yeah, that's a big one. I mean, if you've got one property, it's 15 minutes down the road, maybe you can get away without a property manager for that one. But if you're trying to build out a portfolio, different markets in different states of the country and multiple properties, it's going to be pretty impossible to do by yourself as well. So quantity surveyors as well, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's a big one with depreciation too. That can save you quite a bit of money.
Definitely.
Every year on your taxes.
Yep.
And that money you can save can go towards the next investment.
Property.
Exactly,
Right.
yeah. All those different professionals, accountants, solicitors, buyers agents, property managers, mortgage brokers. If you can get a good team that's all on the same page and they all understand what you're trying to do and where you want to get to, that makes a big difference. Just streamlines everything, especially when they can communicate
with each other.
to each other without you just being in the middle, playing third man all the time. It makes life way easier.
Well, Oliver, I really appreciate your insights today. I really, hope everybody at home watching this got some great value. So I appreciate your time here today.
No, I appreciate you inviting me on. I've had a good time, and hopefully your viewers can take some tips from this.